What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be taking a look at the post-9th anniversary player survey here. I thought it would be an important idea to jump into this one just because I assume that they're going to be including some details about, the sync and stuff. Not like providing us new information, but asking us questions about the way things are going regarding that. I would assume that this is not going to be strictly geared toward the 9th anniversary. And even if it is, there are going to be some open-ended sections, I'm sure, that will allow us to, type our feelings about something that is not even related to the 9th anniversary. So, we may do that if necessary, but let's go ahead and see through here. So, looks like at the beginning, they're going to just ask us all the basic questions. Okay. Okay, so we've got our code in there and everything. Sweet. Alright, so, starting out here, during the 9th anniversary campaign, where did you receive info regarding the campaign? Okay. This is always an interesting question. Seems like they like to know which of their, social media sources and things like that are, effective. Okay, let's see. Usually there's one that's like content creators. Like they used to have one where, because like they have this one, right? The official Bandai Namco YouTube, but obviously that's not where we're getting all of our YouTube information from. We're getting it from other content creators that play the game. Which is something that I always like to credit, obviously, because I am included in that. So I'm just going to say content creators. Okay. Yeah, it's actually weird they took that button away, because I'm pretty sure there was an option before where it wasn't like ad on YouTube, but it was actually like like YouTubers themselves. They had worded that differently to where it basically meant like people that were posting content about the game. Okay, so let's see. The promotions. Okay, so this is a part that I'm actually really bad at, because I never, memorize the names of these promotions, and I often get them confused. As you can see, there were so many different things going on at the same time, during the 9th anniversary, and a lot of the times it's just, like, little social media campaigns and stuff, and then it'll happen on its own. It'll give us a pack of stones or something, or, like, some special rewards in the gift box, and then we never worry about it again. So if you weren't actually, like, scrolling on social media at the time, you would have never even seen these. Some of them anyway. But yeah, it looks like there's a lot of like promotional videos and things in here. That's great. I'm gonna go ahead and just... This stuff, to me, isn't as important, right? Because this stuff doesn't affect gameplay. I know that they have, they have to have metrics for, like, how much free stuff they can give out, and I'm sure that they keep track of that so that they know how many free stones per month, how many free Kais per month, things like that they're giving out. I'm sure that they have some metrics to keep track of that, and all of these extra, celebrations and free rewards and stuff that go in there, these are all things that are still going to exist regardless of what we say about whether we've participated in them or not. And if they end up, like, taking some of these away, then they're just going to give us those stones in a different way. Like, these aren't really going to impact the game as much as some of the other things that could. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip through it for now here, especially because some of the other stuff is very, very cosmetic, right? They're talking about, like, these promotion videos and things like that. The cosmetic side of the game, I feel, does well enough, and I don't think... I mean, me personally, I'm not, like, super ingrained in like the animations and getting like a summon skip button and like different summon animations and like super attack animations, all of this stuff. Like those kind of things don't really matter too much to me in the game. I'm much more about like the functional aspects of the game. So yeah, all those promotional videos and stuff, while they're cool, if they were to completely go away, I don't think it would bother me too much. I think that they do a good job about, like, building hype for a celebration or keeping the community, paying attention to the game or getting people talking about it. But I'm always there anyway. Like, I'm never going to miss anything, regardless of if they promote for it or not. I'm going to be playing the game, so it doesn't really affect me. Okay, share your thoughts on the Dokkan Now special. Well, okay, see, again, I can't remember, like, all of the specifics of each of these because they do multiple of them, but I'm just gonna put very satisfied for everything because I know each time they release these Dokkan Nows, they do a really good job. I mean, I guess they're asking about like the amount of info. I feel like they do give us a fair amount. Sometimes it does feel a little underwhelming for global because we got a lot of the same information that we already knew existed because of the JP version of the game, but that is going to go away soon, so we won't have to worry about that much longer. The content itself, sure, great. 9th anniversary content was awesome. Info on new characters, yes, great. Again, we already knew what the new characters did for the 9th anniversary, but still, the broadcast duration, I mean, I guess it never feels like too long or too short. And then other content challenge projects, like when they do like the little like challenges for themselves, like where they pop the balloons and then we earn dragon stones and stuff, and maybe that's what they're talking about. Yeah, that's definitely cool. Okay, share with us your thoughts on the language used. Okay, here we go. This is perfect. So I like the current method, English audio with supplemental subtitles. So, you know, if you're not an English speaker, there would be various subtitle options that you could choose from. The original Japanese embedded with subtitles the same way. I liked either method or other. I am going to say English. Some people were kind of up in arms about the English, because I don't know, like a couple reasons, I guess. Like I think some people are just very, very like adamant about like, this is a dangerous subject for me to speak on, but I would assume it's because some people that are very, very into things that come from Japanese culture want to appreciate it in a very traditional sense. So hearing them speak Japanese, which is their native language, for this Japanese game is like something that people enjoy, I guess, or want to like keep that alive. I personally think it was cool that they switched to English. They can speak English well enough for us to understand them, which is good. They brought on that like liaison who is a much better English speaker than Omatsu, so if there's anything complex that needs to be explained or described, then they have someone there who's capable of doing it, right? But yeah, especially when they're doing like these Dokkan Nows for the global version of the game, which is every country in the world except Japan, it makes zero sense for them to be strictly speaking Japanese, right? So yeah, I definitely appreciate the English, and I think that people that were having issues with that, sorry, I guess play the JP version of the game if you want the JP experience, right? Okay, moving on here. Select 3 promotions from the 9th anniversary campaign that left an impression on you. Okay, so now it's making us pick between these lists of everything I just said I didn't participate in on the other page. Great. Okay, so I guess we'll go for the Dokkan Now. We do really like the Dokkan Now specials. Oh, wait, this is the broadcast announcement for the Dokkan Now. We want the actual Dokkan Now here. Let's see. Promotional video for Gogeta. Oh, goodness. Okay. There's so many here. What do we choose? I'm trying to see if there's anything in here that would be... Okay, see, yeah, this is where I was thinking they are gonna improve, or, like, some things, right? So, or include some things that weren't strictly anniversary. Technically, Goku was not part of the anniversary. He was just a unit that was, like, tacked on at the end, but they're still including him in these here as, like, a part of the anniversary content, right? Okay. I guess I'll just put the Gohan Beast promotion video, just because Gohan Beast was so good. And like a very much anticipated unit, right? Okay, sure. Let's go ahead and just do those 3. That's fine. Okay, and then promotional activities you participated in. Again, I'm just going to go for none, for the same reasons as I explained before. I noticed the campaigns, but I prefer not to like or repost. Other, I'm just going to say, too busy actually playing the game. It's gonna sound like a little bit of a shot, but I'm sure that, the grunt that reads that's not gonna be too bothered by it. Okay. So, please choose up to 3 options that express your feelings toward the promotional activities. Man, they do so much fluff in these. Okay. The entire quiz so far has just been, like, focused around the promotions and like the social media campaigns. They haven't really even gone in-game that much. That's the good stuff. That's what I really care about. Okay. For the promotional activities. So I might be able to catch up even if I start now. I can obtain many rewards if I start playing now. Dokkan Battle is very popular. Seems like a fun game. Now that I understand the game mechanics better, it seems fun. Game mechanics seem fun and interesting. The character illustrations are cool. Okay, so this is just talking about like, getting people into the game, getting them to discover things about the game they didn't already know, trying to promote information of the game, and this is where they're trying to see what people have gathered. So I'm gonna say other and say, and just say I've been playing the game for years. I'm aware of all of this awesome info already. So there we go. There's no reason for me to say that I've expressed any of those feelings, because obviously I would have discovered all that stuff years ago. Okay. So regarding promotions, I don't know. I would say make more promotions available to participate in through the game itself, rather than having to divert to other social media sources or websites. I think that that's a really good thing, right? If you want people in your game, the biggest possible thing you can do is get people to come into the game itself, right? Having people do stuff externally on different social media platforms so that they can then transition toward in-game and collect the rewards for the things that they've done, especially when it's a campaign that you have to do. Let's say some Facebook campaign comes out. You do the likes and retweets the way you're supposed to the day that the campaign drops, and then you have to wait 3 weeks or something for the campaign to end in order for all players to receive the, the rewards from the campaign. Like, the connection between those two is very, very minimal. It's not like you're actually picking up more like player base from that kind of thing. There's nobody that wasn't already in game who's going to log in randomly on some social media campaign, get a very, very small kind of pathetic pack of stuff from this one campaign that they participate in, and then still remember weeks from now to go log into the game to get it without any reminders, right? Like, it just doesn't, I don't think it's an actually successful system that they think it is. I think most of the people that participate in those campaigns are already playing the game anyway, so we might as well shift toward, being able to participate in those things within the game itself. I think it would have been really cool, that little third-party website that they added where we were liking and sharing all these, posts from other players and stuff. It would have been really cool if they could, implement that, build that into the game itself, so you don't actually have to leave the app to participate in those things. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. Oops. Oh, it's because I put a comma. I can't put a comma in here? Weird. Okay, let's see. I guess I have to just... Can I put a period at least? Will that work? Okay, cool. Okay, please share your thoughts on the Beyond the Ultimate 9th Anniversary Maximum Celebration. Just by name, I really wish that they would put banner images in here. That would be very, very helpful, right? If they were to take... the celebration info, and then take those little ticker tape banners and, put them here so you could have a visual image tied to what this campaign they're actually asking you about is. Because I don't actually know. So it's kind of hard for me to... I'm just assuming that this is, part 1 of the celebration. Again, I'm just going to go very satisfied for all of this stuff, because I think the 9th anniversary was really good. I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank. I don't think there's anything super important I need to talk about there. Satisfaction with the event. Supreme Magnificent Battle. Okay, here we go. So battles against superclass enemies, we'll say I'm very satisfied with that. Obviously, this is our first time in many, many years getting very, very hard endgame fights that you're fighting against, superclass enemies. So that is very, very refreshing change of pace, something we needed and still need more. Battles with many phases. Again, another thing that I could say all the exact same things about. It's been years since we've had good fights that are very difficult and very long. Enemy skills, such as nullifying evasion skills and super attacks. I will say very good. I think that, somewhat satisfied with those. I think it's nice that they've been adding that, because it does get a little bit scary when they do power creep on things, right? When they make enemy content harder by just adding millions and millions more damage that they're putting out per turn. then it makes it so that a lot of the units that you use frequently are just all of a sudden unable to be used, because you're going to need much larger pools of HP and much larger pools of defense and stuff in order to be able to take on these fights, which just makes most of the game like not usable, and we have to depend on new units coming out. If they add skills like this, nullifying evasion and super attacks and things like that, then, you know, this can take some usability away from some of the most top tier characters in the game, but it prevents making the enemies actually physically, you know, stronger as far as stats are concerned, so that you still have the ability to shift toward using other units in your box that, you know, maybe not, they might not be like the most amazing defensively, but they're going to be better than the units that rely on, you know, dodge or die, that are incapable of dodging, that just can't beat those events. You might be able to rely on some of your A tier units instead. Whereas, you know, when they make stats just go way up, then you don't have the ability to do that, to rely on like lesser characters and stuff. So it can be good, but it also can cause problems too. Okay, missions to obtain a unique title. Definitely. I think they need to continue adding more of them. I think there's still less than 10 of those unique titles, right? Like, most of the titles are still those basic, like, bronze, silver, gold, or, like, those red, like, iridescent ones and stuff. That's most of the titles in the game. There's still a very, very, very small handful of the ones that actually have, like, their own special, you know, little, like, pictures on there and stuff. And I think in order for those to actually be appealing for people to keep on their profile, and express like one of their own, we're gonna need like hundreds. They're gonna need to ramp up how many of them that they're doing, because when you have a bunch of other players with the exact same title, I feel like it just doesn't feel as unique or personalized or necessary to put up. So yeah, I'm really, really hoping that we get a lot of those over time. Yeah, I'm actually gonna make that comment here. I'm gonna say more titles. More titles. Actually, I don't know if they're going to accept that punctuation. I'll just put a period. More titles. Actually, I'll just make it into a sentence. More titles would be very beneficial for personalization of the profile. Add as many special titles as you can. Ugh, I love my exclamation points. I keep forgetting that I'm putting them. I don't know if it's going to let me use it, because it didn't let me use a comma, so. Okay, we'll leave it at that. So the Memorable Battles Movie Edition. What was this one again? Oh, yeah. Okay, got it. This was the one that came out, like, right before the Supreme Battle Spectacle actually dropped. Yeah, again, very, very good stuff. They were giving us some longer fights, missions to obtain skill orbs, exclusive Carnival featured characters. Yeah, perfect. That is wonderful. This is the event where we get the skill orbs for the Carnival LRs from the anniversary, right? We'll go ahead and leave it at that. It's perfectly fine. Nothing extra we need to say there. Okay, movie boss rush. Yeah, very satisfied with that. The skills of the boss characters, perfectly fine. Lots of locking, sealing, stunning, that kind of thing. Newly added missions that require you to clear the stage with characters of specified categories. Yes, perfect, awesome. I'm just going to say, we love mission-based content. There is so much content in this game, you know, where, like, the entire challenge tab, minus the Dokkan events, obviously, but everything else in that challenge tab, there's so many, there's like more than like 50 events or something like that have been added to that challenge tab, and most of it just sits there. Once you deplete the initial like pool of missions that go along with the event, it just sits there for years and you never touch it. If they were to constantly add missions to a lot of this content that's sitting there, it would provide some replay value for a lot of the stuff that they've, you know, dedicated hours toward creating all these events, right? And then it would, you know, allow us to get more rewards, allow us to feel like we have more content to play, and provide some really good replay value for the game as well. Like, they could realistically, legitimately create an entire celebration where they drop, like, a new unit, a new Dokkan Fest unit, a new, like, LR or something, and then they give us maybe, like, a new story event, and then everything else in that campaign could just be mission-based content from all the challenge events we have already. Like, they could absolutely do that. Give us, you know, something I've wanted them to do for a very long time is on Super Battle Road stages, give us challenges for those, right? So, like, make us take on Super Battle Road for for, like, what's a good example? Like, for, like, Goku's family, right? It'd be Goku's family Super Battle Road, but then you have to clear it with a Pure Saiyan's team. So now, because it's Goku's family, you can only use Goku family characters still, but then as a subcategory of within the Goku's family, you then also can only use Pure Saiyans, so it'd make it a little bit harder to beat. I think that would be really, really cool if they added that for, you know, various different Super Battle Road stages. And then obviously there's a million other challenge events that they could do creative stuff with as well. But that is my top wishes for the Super Battle Road stages for sure. Okay, Cell Max Stage 2. I am going to say unsatisfied with being able to bring 4 support items for sure. That kind of made this event a joke. It wasn't hard because the support, like, you can have all 8 slots. 4 support items here means being able to bring 8 support items and then use as many as you want, right? Two of each of the typings that you bring. But yeah, it's just too much. Like, you could defeat this entire event in 8 turns. So if you all just bring 1-turn items, then you can have an item active every single turn and beat this guy. So that makes it really, really meh, in my opinion. A short 1-phase battle, I mean, sure, fine. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that as long as they're providing both, right? As long as not everything in the game is like that, then it's fine to have it. Enemy skills changing depending on the number of turns pass and HP reduce. Yeah, I'm satisfied with that as well. I think that's cool, you know, change of pace. To be fighting one boss, but then their stuff changes throughout that individual fight instead of having to get to a next phase, which is the same as your own characters that you're using, right? They are changing throughout the fight, building up or, you know, gaining certain abilities after a certain amount of things happen, whether they take hits or receive or dish out hits, things like that, right? So yeah, that's good. I'm not too hard-pressed about the Cell Max event itself. I'll leave it there. I don't think I have any additional comments to make. Please choose the option you most agree with regarding your impression on the skill Attack Attraction. So this is talking about the target skill, right, that Gogeta and Beast Gohan got. The gameplay became more interesting as I can strategize more. I would like to attempt new events that I couldn't clear until now. The game became more complicated as new elements were added. I would say we'll go with the first one. Became more interesting as I can strategize more. It's very, very nice to be able to bring certain units on your team that, you know, like okay, dodge or die units, for instance. When Red Zone Broly first came out, in the movie Red Zone, you could not bring dodging units. Even though they would have been good, really, really good throughout the entire fight, that last phase being, you know, canceling dodge, hit so hard that if you had a single unit that was depending on dodge or die, even if they just took normals in that last phase, you were gonna lose. And now with characters like Gogeta and Beast, you can rely on bringing units like that, because then on, you know, you just make them like a floating unit during any of the phases where dodge canceling is a thing. And then you can use the target skill to make sure that they don't get hit on those turns and then rotate them off, and you still have a full 2 extra turns after that before you're going to need to worry about protecting them again. But yeah, and then even on turns where they do come back after you've already used the target skill, like 3 turns later, usually after another 3 turns you've already defeated the enemy, but if you haven't, you can still put them in the 3rd slot again and attack with all 3 of your units before you have to worry about them getting hit. So technically you can go like 4 turns, and if you rotate them off before they show up for that, then it's an additional 2 turns, so it's like 6 turns total that you can go without a dodge unit needing to get hit, just because of these target skills. So yeah, it can be very, very useful. Okay, the territory skills. So this is like the domains. I am glad I can disable the enemy's skill by activating a domain. I would like more types of territory skills. I don't know what a territory skill is. Okay, I would love more types of territory skills. I think that this is something that they need to flush out in the game. You know, there are certain mechanics that they have experimented with in the past. You know, the outfit change being one of them. That was something that I was thinking of that has like a very, very minute, small effect. Trying to think. I know that there's at least one other card mechanic. Oh, the exchange. The exchange mechanic. That's something that they use very rarely. That kind of flopped when it first came out. And it hasn't seen much success, even, like, ever on any unit since then. But Yeah, so there are certain times they experiment with these new mechanics and throw them out, and then they don't end up being the most successful things, so they just kind of stop using them, or maybe they'll throw them on like one random character every now and then. But I do think that these domains, it's very important for these domains, if they're going to be effective in game, there needs to be more kinds of them. Obviously, it would have been nice if they had, programmed them where you're going to be able to override your previous domain, because as it sits currently, if you have a domain active, then you just won't have the ability to activate any other domains, and you have to wait for that one to dissipate first, however many turns it's supposed to last, and then when it finally goes away, you can activate a new domain, and the only time you can overwrite a domain is if it's an enemy that has the domain, and then you can use yours to overwrite it. But yeah, I think that teams with multiple domains on them, for instance, if you're using a Broly team, you want Broly to transform with this domain, but once you do one, you can't do the other. So that's really unfortunate, because you might get into a situation where one of them that's transformed is off rotation, and you really, really, really need the one on rotation to be transformed. It would be nice if you could sacrifice the one domain to just activate the other one. And then that's not even talking about if you add Physical Rose to the team, because now he has his domain as well, right? So yeah, I think it's important to be able to overwrite them. So yeah, I would say I would like more types of territory skills, but honestly, I am going to go with other and say that instead. So I'm going to say, I'm going to repeat this sentence. So I would like more types of skills, and then I'm also going to say, it would be very useful to be able to override active domains with new ones. Okay. Did you purchase the countdown pack? No. I was not purchasing anything during the countdown celebration. I only purchased a little bit when the celebration went live. I'm just gonna say saving money. Nothing to do with their, production of that portion of the celebration. I didn't want to indicate that they failed in any way, because it was a good pack. It was good value every time that they came out. They were very, very cheap for some extra tickets and stones and stuff. And they like advertised for them well. I was aware that they were there and stuff, but I just chose not to buy them. Okay. Yes, I did perform summons for Goku. Regarding the impression level, the arrival timing of the character. Okay, here we go. So this is something that is not really related to the anniversary itself, right? But more about, like, acknowledging the fact that we're syncing, and so they had to cram him into the schedule and how we feel about that, right? I am satisfied because I wanted to pair him with existing characters as soon as possible. That is a good point. I would have preferred him later, as I don't have Dragon Stones after the 9th anniversary campaign. I imagine most of the player base is going to check that box. I am satisfied because I like the character, nothing in particular. I am going to say this. I am satisfied because I wanted to pair him with the existing characters as soon as possible. I happened to pull Goku. I did have to wail out a little bit and go pretty deep to get him. Even so, not having stones post 9th Annie and him dropping all of a sudden, I am perfectly fine that he released, because this is his biggest heyday. Like, all of the Universe Survival Saga content, characters in the game have gotten huge buffs. We just got new ones. We just got, like a bunch of amazing EZAs for a lot of the LRs from the 6th anniversary and stuff. So yeah, it's very, very convenient that they dropped him right now, as opposed to waiting months. If we're going to get him anyway, like, screw it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Give us the guy, Okay, so... Okay, it seems like this is going to be the very end here. Wow, so they really only asked, like, the one question about Goku. Everything else was strictly related to the 9th anniversary. And I guess technically that was too, because they were saying, we added him to the 9th anniversary celebration instead of giving him his own. How do you feel about that? So yeah, that is perfect. Okay, as far as other things to write in here... What's important, right? Obviously, you know, thinking about certain things like the friend system. The friend system is very, very important. We still haven't gotten like the proper update that we want for that, which is to be able to like mirror your own leader. Because, you know, regardless of how it's gotten better over the years, it's still not foolproof. And there are a lot of times where, you know, you end up jumping into a stage and you're unable to find that friend lead that you want. One of the big issues that I run into these days is because I do so much grinding in the game that's just like useless low-level grinding, and this is where it matters even more than taking on challenge content. You know, because it's hard enough when you're dealing with like challenge content where you get your 5 runs per day and you're trying to use some wonky team, like let's say you have like the int gammas as your leader or whatever, and you want them as a friend leader too, but then you can't find any, so you're forced to use a different team or reset the app or something like that in order to get that leader there. That's hard enough. But imagine you need to run a stage 100 times in order to farm up a bunch of medals that you need or something, and the friend lead that you want isn't there. That's a pain. Especially when that friend leader happens to be Int Yamcha or Int Piccolo Jr. Giant form. Because I use those 2 units to rely on their active skills in order to clear stages quicker all of the time. If it's multiple enemies, I throw Piccolo Jr. If it's a single enemy, I put Yamcha with the full Earthbred Fighters team. Like, I do that all the time. But it is so common for me to run into the problem where I have no friend leaders available for Int Piccolo Jr. and Int Yamcha. This is why I tell people all the time, like, if you're gonna try to send me a friend request, there are a lot of prerequisites at this point because I have such a beefed account and so many beefed friends on my list. You know, I do require a pretty high power level and things like that. I do pay attention closely to make sure people are logging in. You know, if you don't log in for like more than an entire day, that is a red flag to me for sure. I pay attention to the pixel character and see how quickly people are grinding and stuff. But another major factor that I pay attention to is if your friend leader is an Int Yamcha or an Int Piccolo Jr. Giant form. Those are the 2 units that I love having on my friends list as much as possible because I use both of them every single day, all the time. So, yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and say friend system update where you can mirror your own leader. I will put that as my first comment here. And then as far as anything else, I guess let's try and think of something sync related. I would say that would be very important because that's kind of like the topic at hand, right? This is what they are acknowledging that they're spending time paying attention to. This is what they're spending time working on in the game right now. You know, they're putting all of their development efforts toward the sync. So if we have anything interesting to say about the sync, then I think this is the right place to be putting those things. I feel like I have a lot less problems with the sync than the greater portions of the community. Like, I am of the standpoint of, like, I'm going to play the game regardless, right? I've always been on Dokkan, and I'm always going to be on Dokkan. I don't need them to push these things out in a specific way for me to be satisfied enough to play the game, right? As far as, you know, what some people have been talking about and, like, kind of worried about is, like, the release schedule of the units. Some people were very upset that Jiren and Cell Max, you know, looked like they were going to be non-existent for a while, and we had no real clear indicators about when they were going to release. And in fact, now we know that Cell Max is going to be releasing literally tonight, so that's exciting. At the time of recording this video, anyway. I'm not sure exactly when this is going to be posted. But yeah, so pretty much it's just Jiren, like, up in the air right now, and we've gotten, like, most everything else. So I don't really think that there's too much to say there as far as, like, release schedule of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, here's a big one. Compensate global Dokkan for all of the missing battlefield memory. This is a big issue. This is like the thing that I have the biggest issue with the sync. When they were syncing, there's a lot of events that they have been just hustling ahead of time and throwing into earlier celebrations to make sure that we get the content. And then there's a lot of, or one event specifically, which is the Ultimate Clash, because it comes out and is like the same event every time. Instead of just releasing more of them in a quicker time period, they ended up skipping codes within the data. So they would give us Ultimate Clash 32, and then instead of giving us 33, they would skip it and give us Ultimate Clash 34. So what that meant is instead of giving us more Battlefield memory in a quicker amount of time because of, making the event end in 2 weeks or something, and then just moving on to the next one, they were instead making it last the same amount of time, like that full month or whatever, and then just entirely skipping one. So there's a lot of Battlefield currency that we missed out on. I think it was about 1 million. Some people were doing the calculations. I'm pretty sure it was a little over 1 million that we missed out on because of those, the missed Battlefields, which I think sucks because that's already the worst place in the game to, like, earn the units from the shop because you earn such little of that currency. Like, even the top players basically are barely able to rainbow all the LRs, and then they don't even have enough to buy, like, any of the TURs, let alone anything else in that shop, right? So the fact that they duped Global out of a bunch of points, making it even worse for us, is pretty bad. I would say this is as bad as the JP box space issue. The two things are equivalent in my mind. As far as the one version of the game being treated much better regarding that system, right? I think those are the most important things for me. Everything else for me is kind of fine right now. I think that the game is in good health. I think they're doing a very good job with all the content that they're releasing with the units and the kits and the animations and everything. So yeah, I don't have too many other suggestions beyond these. Let me know in the comments below if you guys thought of anything interesting. That is like a must-have or a must-change within the game. Who knows? Maybe if you guys give me enough of those contents, maybe I will comments in about the content of the game and stuff. Maybe I will make another one of those Dokkan Needs Changes videos and include some of your guys' interesting ideas. So who knows? Let me know what you guys think down below. Hopefully you guys took the player survey. Usually they're giving out 7 stones for it, so you might as well click through. And even if you don't really care about much of it, you could just opt out of a lot of those answers. As you saw, you can just click none of the above. It's a free 7 stones. You might as well take care of it real quick. But obviously, if you do want to put in the time, we know for a fact that they have made some direct changes based on what the community's feedback has been. So we know that they pay attention to these surveys. They're not just putting them out for no reason. So if you are someone that really, really cares about the health of the game, I encourage you, please go take a look at this survey and answer it honestly and truthfully. All right, well, that is going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for sticking along with me, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.